From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Both sides heard from.
Oh my God. Well,
Whatever, jeez.
we count down the top 10 things that make us go
Wow. There you
holiday special today. Actually, we're just doing a regular show. Counting down.
sure
Maybe we should start over again.
No, I think
No?
it's all authentic.
Okay.
Real. It's not going to get better than this.
Ooh.
I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World Wonder, joined by Tom Campbell, creative director and guide of my life.
Oh, hello.
Lighthouse.
Thank you, dear.
Not the lighthouse, but a light in the dark.
Don't see the lighthouse.
Also, inspirational unicorn James St. James,
The cool vocal stylings of.
I like that. Too.
Sweet.
editor of the Wow Report, and Blake Jacobs, of course.
Hi.
Hey, should we just? One thing I will just say. Last night, Thursday, the last full moon of the decade.
Yes.
It was a beautiful moon. Was it a blue moon? I think it was a blue moon.
Full moon.
A blue moon.
And it peaked at 12:12 a.m. on the 12th of December.
And now it's Friday the 13th, so that's all gone to hell.
Yes. Okay, so let's count down the top 10 things that made us go
Wow.
this week. Number 10, Tom.
Number 10.
For the audience, for you, I spent a good part of last weekend binging the entire third season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. I watched all of it, so that's a good sign. There's something about Amy Palladino and her husband and what's been part of what sucked me into Mrs. Maisel, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is the detail and the
period detail,
the
the fashion
period detail,
detail.
the fashion detail, also the love for, like, last season 2, it was about the Catskills, and it was this whole kind of and the Jewish American experience and the Upper West Side, and this time she goes Mrs. Maisel's on the road with for most of it with a performer who's kind of a mashup between kind of Johnny Mathis kind of character,
Nice.
African American.
Yeah,
We find out later that, like, Johnny Mathis' character might have a secret for the time.
Could he be gay?
Spoiler alert. But she goes to the Fontainebleau and they shoot at the Fontainebleau.
Nothing is nicer than the fountain.
The
Blue.
Poodle Lounge. Are they in the Poodle Lounge?
I don't know the Poodle Lounge, but maybe
It was the legendary lounge. They've revamped it now. Of course, it's not like it, but it was like when I went there, it was still like the 50s.
Back in the 1950s.
And did it have
you
the
were there?
staircase that goes nowhere,
Yeah,
which I wasn't aware of?
I didn't know that it goes. No, I know there's a staircase. Now the pool is
Supposedly,
fantastic.
it's just for people to show off their dresses. They go up to the top of the staircase and then go down. Which
That's
I thought was
fantastic.
And the whole thing starts off with this U.S. show, Spectacular, in New York that she's opening for, and they have. Not the Rockettes, but Rockettes. It's just the production value and the attention to detail. And how also when you have musical acts, a lot of time they'll start a musical number and cut it right off, or it'll be a big dance number, but you only see, like, no expense seems to be spared, no attention to detail. Loved all that. That being said, it's the third season. I watched the whole thing. I recommend you watch it, but it was not every season. Not every season can be as good as the last season, and this one feels a little rambling. It's hard because her parents lose their apartment because it was tied up with the father being a professor at Columbia, and they have, again, because I watched the show just to look at the furniture and the clothes and the bric-a-brac and the kitchen appliances, and they but
It's like
the
what Mad Men was to the 60s.
Yes.
This is to the
Just,
It's that same
50s,
sort of
60s,
like
early
yeah.
60s.
The first reason why I think I should watch it, the kitchen appliances.
No, but I'm telling you, it's such an upbeat, happy time. So her parents move in with her ex-in-laws in Queens in a fancy house, and it's just the storylines don't. The father becomes radicalized, wants to be part of, like, a radical newspaper in his 60s. They don't all mush together, all those storylines. But I still enjoy the show. I still enjoy who's the actress? Oh my God, who plays Susie? Her ambiguously lesbian.
Boylan.
No. I'm so.
I
she won
I
the
don't-
Emmy this year, and I'm just an old person.
I know
so
who you're talking
we'll
about,
figure it
yeah.
out. But she's amazing. So watch it, enjoy it. And the only other thing that people is controversial, and I don't think is interesting thing about doing a period piece today,
Alex Borstein.
I worship you, is political correctness. She's touring with an African-American performer in the early 60s.
Would that have actually happened?
I don't know. And they do deal with race at a certain point, but they don't. It's not heavy an issue, but it's there. And there's just a lot of things. She's away from her children a lot. People talk about that. So clear your mind of that and enjoy The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel season 3.
I have to say, I only saw one episode. Wasn't for me. Haven't come back, and so I'll try.
But you're going to poo-poo what I'm talking about next too. So you were just you're
I am
Mr.
poo-poo.
You're Mr. Poo-poo.
He just pooed. Now we're
I'm not
going
going to poo-poo. I am going to pour scorn and
But
fury.
you have to let me go. You have to let me talk before
9.
you start.
Number 9.
Okay.
Okay, Okay, James, you go. I'm going to moderate. James.
Okay. I want to circle back around to something we talked about last week, and it was one of Tom's topics. It was Marriage Story, and
the feature film now on Netflix with Adam Driver,
which I sort of have a problem with that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I did want to just you really sold it for me, and I went and watched it, and I really loved it. And I've got to say that it is a searing portrait of the dissolution of a marriage. It is on par with Kramer versus Kramer, Ingmar Bergman's. Hey, stop that.
He's making noise.
I know. Okay.
Fenton's making noise.
Okay, you let me talk before you start, sir. Okay, on par with Kramer versus Kramer, Blue Valentine, Squid and the Whale, Ingmar Bergman's Scenes from Marriage. I think there's a lot of Woody Allen in there. I think there's a lot of Annie Hall in there. I think there's some the Way We Were a little bit. There's that.
The 4th season of Rhoda, when Rhoda and Joe split.
It is Adam Driver's movie all the way. I have never seen him more focused and fabulous than this.
Don't you kind of empathize with his character a
Whose
little bit
side
more,
are you
too?
on?
Definitely his. He's sort of a sad sack who is being railroaded by the Laura Dern character and by his wife, who we didn't realize was such a shark. She's having
Scarlett Johansson
is having a great year this year. She was fantastic in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
There's this, which she's going to get nominated for, but. Adam Driver has 4 scenes that are absolutely on par with some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. There's the scene in the hotel room where they just lash into each other in the way that only a married couple can do. They just destroy each other. Okay, and that's absolutely fantastic. There's the scene, and this is a spoiler, where he cuts himself, and I'm not going to say anything more. Then there
Suicide attempt.
Okay. No. There is when he sings Being Alive. And I want to break this down for a second there, because it's Stephen Sondheim from Company. It's one of the hardest songs that's ever been written to sing. You have to have an emotional maturity to understand the lyrics.
Are you challenging me to sing it here right now? No, you're not.
And very rarely have I ever heard anybody sing it, and with such gravitas and such emotion.
And he's singing it. It's not like lip sync.
No, he is singing. And there's another. I'll get to that in a second.
In one take, too, I think.
In one take, and he sort of is a joke in the beginning, but then as he's realizing the lyrics and he's realizing that he's living the lyrics, and he is growing up before our eyes and sort of becoming a greater man as he's singing the song. And also that you realize for a second there that he must be a frustrated performer. He's the creator and director of this theater troupe, but maybe he's a frustrated actor all along, and maybe this is. You realize that he's probably the most talented person in the acting troupe, and you just see that he's really just it's a Paxa Wallop right there. And it's unlike anything. It's unlike any musical number I've ever seen put to film.
So that's a thumbs up.
It's definitely a thumbs up.
And now for our counterpoint, Fenton Bailey.
No, keep going.
Well, I did just want to say that one of the things about it that irritates me is that I don't like the fact that it's a movie made by Netflix for Netflix, but somebody's aunt in Peoria has a movie theater house, so they play it once, and now it gets nominated for an Oscar instead of an Emmy.
Hey, Boomer. Get over it. That's the future. Streaming and movies have merged. Right. It's going to happen.
So that's Marriage Story streaming on Netflix.
Go ahead.
Number 8.
Number 8.
I'm going to talk about Marriage Fucking Story. I watched this movie. I hated it. I was so enraged. I, too, am angry that it's on Netflix. I don't know what the fuck they think they're doing. And just sort of remaking every movie that exists. They just are sort of some giant copycat empire at this point. Just like, oh, well, we'll rip this off. We'll rip that up. We'll copy that.
Have a lot of Netflix shows?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, now we
This
come
is
to
a Noah Baumbach movie
Number one.
based on his life.
Number 2, I just thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was grotesque. I thought it was a caricature. I didn't think there was hardly anything real in it at all. And yes, absolutely, Adam Driver.
You've had
Adam Driver
relationships.
is amazing, and Scarlett Johansson is great.
Yep.
But I feel the characters they play are loathsome, pretentious, theater wanky types.
that is a real
For some
thing.
reason, he wins the MacArthur Genius Grant for some low-level, basic performance art thing that Scarlett Johansson is in. And I think that she is awful as a character. She is just vile.
Okay, yeah.
And as he says to her in that great scene that is the row in the hotel room, he says, "You chose this life. You wanted it until you didn't. You used me and then you blamed me. And you always made me aware of what I was doing something wrong. Life with you was always joyless." That was the best part of the movie.
Yes.
The painful truth
Right.
that is absolutely one side of the story.
But then, so much
There's
of
a-
the story was filled up with ridiculous comedy of the bumbling lawyer that he chooses, the evil Laura Dern lawyer
but
playing
Ellen
Laura,
Alda.
playing Laura Dern playing Laura Dern. I agree with you,
I
Tom,
agree.
what you said. I love Laura
She's
Dern.
having a good run at it, though, I gotta tell
agree,
you.
but she's
No,
just Laura Dern.
she was one of the weakest links. So I
No,
agree.
I think the movie.
I just hope
the
this whole
movie.
building doesn't collapse on us.
I think the movie
Putting
is
down
weak
Netflix and Laura
because
Dern
on
in the same segment.
Because you're trying to make a serious film about a divorce, and then you have all these comedy bits, like the stupid
isn't
girl
life
serving the
comedy
papers
as well as tragedy?
Yes, life is comedy, but it's not like now we're doing comedy, now we're going to get serious. Now we're doing comedy. It was so artlessly blended. It was a bit like, I thought, that stupid performance art theater stuff that they were doing. I thought it was all
Well,
very,
but
very
performance art
incredibly
is
basic.
stupid.
And then I thought her argument that she finally left him because he didn't know her phone number was just ridiculous. Who the fuck knows anyone's phone number now? It's in your phone. You don't know it.
I
We
know
don't
your
know
phone
people's
number.
Okay, what is it?
I don't know your phone.
No,
1976 muscle.
I
only
am
know-
leaving you. I mean,
I only
it was
know
like-
Theron's phone number just in case I need someone to call and get me out of jail.
Yeah,
You
I
think
mean,
Theron's going to get you out of jail?
Well,
And
he's
look-
the only one I know.
Let's break it down. It's just two competitive people with egos. That's all it is.
But isn't
She's
that
more
every
concerned.
marriage?
Yes.
Maybe that is, but does that mean it has to be a 2.5-hour film? Does that mean we have to load it up with Golden Globes and Oscars and awards? No, it's just a mediocre film. And Kramer versus Kramer was much better because at least in Kramer versus Kramer, you had the kid as this interesting center character. The kid here in this so-called remake, it has no business even being in the movie. Neither parent gives a fuck about their child. I was just kind of just flat out dismayed and disgusted by the whole thing, and
But being alive, did you enjoy that?
not being alive as a person now here in this
The
radio
song,
show.
The
the
song,
performance,
the
Pat.
Sondheim
Did you
song.
stick with it to the
Sondheim
end?
must have nodded off. Oh, in the bar. They're in the bar.
yeah.
They didn't do much. for me.
Somebody love me
I-
too
too
much.
I appreciate your analysis of that. So
I love that I can find truth in what you both said. I feel like I'm the child, and you are the divorcing couple, and I feel like I was marginalized in this conversation.
Obviously.
Wow, that was stimulating to my mind. Thank you both.
thank you. Should we take a? Shall we take a break?
I think we need
Maybe,
to take a break.
maybe we won't be back.
Now, if Netflix has anything to say about it,
Blake, have you got a question?
I do. It's about a Marriage Story.
then you just chill.
So Laura Dern has worked with both Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson before in different movies.
Right.
What are the two movies?
I don't know. We'll think about it during the break.
The ScarJo one was one of her very first big movies. So.
Okay. Listen to our bottom radio, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. We are counting down the top 10 things that make us go
Wow.
Blake, what was the question?
Well, we just had an argument. Mommy and Daddy were fighting
We had a
over
discussion.
over Marriage Story.
It's a discussion.
And so I asked, Laura Dern is in the movie with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. Laura Dern has worked with both Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson before in different movies. What are the two movies?
Scarlett Johansson, what was an early movie of hers? The Woody Allen movie. What was that called?
Which one?
The Woody Allen movie that Scarlett Johansson was in.
Match Point.
Sure. Match Point.
And I'm going to say
With Laura Dern.
The Star Wars with Adam Driver.
That's what we're saying.
That's the Star Wars, yeah.
Laura
Adam
Dern's in
Driver.
Star Wars?
Laura Dern.
She was
and
the leader of the resistance, clunking around like a heavy hoof.
She.
God, it
Ruined the film.
She.
And then the Scarlett Johansson and Laura Dern movie is The Horse Whisperer.
What?
Robert Redford.
Awful film.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, wow.
You are in a mood.
Someone-
Burning down the house. I think we're going to
Someone-
be airing a repeat and not
Someone
this
pissed in
episode.
your cornflakes this morning.
I think
Dear
Fenton and
God.
James switched bodies or some Freaky Friday
as long
over
as
here.
they pass by me.
All right, 10, 9, 8, number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
Christmas has come a little early this year. Warning, the Kennedy Center Honors, which is the highlight of my year, the highlight of the year of the Christmas season. They usually air during the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I watch it with my sister in Boston. This year, they're airing this Sunday on CBS at 8 p.m. LL Cool J is hosting because it's CBS, but it's already making news, and there's been a lot of hype on CBS. They are honoring Sally Field. Tom Hanks is supposedly, there's been some leaks, is reprising his Forrest Gump character to honor her because, of course, there's a great joke that Sally Field was his love interest in Punchline, and like 3 years later she played his mother in Forrest Gump. But Sally Field's an amazing actress and has been with us forever, and is also her
I wonder
son.
if they'll mention the Flying Nun and
Oh, they have to.
Gidget.
They
Yeah.
have to. When you've come so far, you have to. You can
laugh it
share
all.
it
Yeah,
all.
uh-huh.
And she also, I just love. President Trump did not attend for the third year in a row
Nice.
the Kennedy Center Honors. No president before has ever done that, no matter the party affiliation. But think of Sally Field was there. Sally Field to me is part of the resistance because she. We have coffee coming in. Yay! She's part of the resistance. Her son's LGBT. He's gay, and she's a great proponent. So Sally Field will be there. Earth, Wind, and Fire is being honored, the first African-American group in the history of the Kennedy Center Honors, which seems so wrong.
It is.
But so right.
Like
but
the Four
it's,
Tops, or nobody has ever.
isn't that crazy?
So weird.
Isn't that crazy? Diana Ross is going out to the Supremes. Supposedly, John Legend, Neo, Cynthia Erivo, and the Jonas Brothers play tribute. So I'm looking forward to that concert, part of the thing. And then, again, for the first time ever, a TV show is winning a Kennedy Center Honors, and it's Sesame Street.
Oh,
That-
and how sad that Carol Spinney just died.
Carol
this
Spinney,
week.
who was Big Bird
Yeah.
forever, who at 85 passed away.
Oh.
There is an amazing picture. You know how they have that, pro forma picture of them all sitting with their Kennedy Center Honors, rainbow things, and then Big Bird is sitting there with them. And I'm telling you,
Big Bird was because it was filmed earlier, so Big Bird was a part of it.
it was filmed just this past week, so he wasn't part of it.
I'm
But Big Bird the character still goes on, and someone still voices Big Bird.
Nice.
But there's this picture of very beautiful, stuffy black and white and black tie, and Big Bird with a couple of Muppets over his shoulder. It makes me cry. It makes me so happy. And then there's always what I kind of love the most. Oddly, is the High Arts Award, because I'm not that educated, and I always learn something about a ballet dancer or choreographer. This year, it's Michael Tilson Thomas, who is the director of the Symphony of the San Francisco Orchestra. He also is in Miami. He was here forever at the LA Philharmonic, and we saw him at the Bowl, I'm sure. He's also a gay man whose gayness held him back, yes, even in the industry of the arts. And he's 70-something now, and he was a prodigy, and I can't wait for people to know more about him who don't. And then last, but not least,
Right.
I've talked about this, Linda Ronstadt.
yes.
Is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. This is her year. Sometimes, sadly, people have to be sick or something has to happen for people to take the moment to recognize her. Linda's getting a lot of that recognition, as she deserves. And this is why I love her so much, because Linda was also a rock and roller when being political. And Rolling Stone was like politics and rock and roll. And she was always very political, and she was with Jerry Brown, and she did things. And
She was with Jerry Brown.
Yes.
Oh,
No, for many
for a long
years,
time.
yeah.
And she's just smarter than you think, and she's handled this whole, she has Parkinson's now, and she handles that and speaks about it in such an eloquent, uplifting, rational way. So Trump wasn't there, but at a dinner before the concert, Pompeo, Secretary of State Pompeo, said, as I travel around the world, I wonder, when will I be loved?
Oh, why would he say that?
He was trying to suck
it's
up.
a line. It's a line from her song.
When will
I
I've
didn't
been cheated, been
I've
mistreated.
When will I be loved?
So she gets up to get her
So
her
he's
laurels.
making a joke,
Right.
trying to.
He's trying to fit in with like the cool kids,
Right.
and the cool kids are saying, the smart kids, the people that don't like kids in cages, the kids who don't like Russian collusion, the kids that don't like lying. So Linda Ronstadt in her compromised state gets up, like just seeing her go and walk is like, it's a huge achievement. She gets there, she's very gracious, and she says in very smart, short remarks, and at the end of them she says, and to Mr. Pompeo, or Secretary Pompeo, you'll be loved when you stop enabling President Trump. And someone captured it on tape.
Yes.
I think Peter Asher, who we work with, and he's
because it probably won't make it to the.
and it's not in the actual concert. It's a dinner that happens. There's many ceremonies.
Right, okay.
But she said that, and good for her to see. You know how when things happen, you always think I should have said.
You don't know what to do. Do you remember when Sean Spicer came out at the Emmys?
Yeah.
No one knew
We're
quite
like,
what to, and like the moment passed before people could process it.
And he set her up, and
Yes.
she said something that I thought was elegant and eloquent, and had eleganza.
What was the moment like in the
It was like a whoa. I mean, no one expected it. It was a big reaction, a big whoa. It's a very like handheld from his table. And last but not least, Nancy Pelosi and her husband were there because there was needed. They are all invited. So she was like the highest ranking person because Pence didn't go either. And I do believe, I've read, I haven't seen, that she gets a standing ovation.
as she
bless-
deserves.
Happy endings. James,
Long live the arts.
What have you got for us at number 6?
Number 6.
I have been watching Harley Quinn on DC Universe, which is an app on my Roku that
That you get for free?
No. I've been paying to see Harley Quinn. This is something that people have been really talking about. It's really getting a lot of press. People are going bananas for this. People of a certain type are going bananas for this show. It is Harley Quinn, who is the Joker's girlfriend. I don't know if you know about
didn't
her.
know
Thank
that.
you. Break it down for me.
Okay,
Margot Robbie played her in the movie.
Margot Robbie plays her in Suicide Squad and in Birds of Prey, the movie that's coming up very soon. This is a cartoon. She's hysterical. She sort of talks like a 30s showgirl. Yeah. And she's always talking about her Mr. J and her pudding, how much she loves him.
Is she a goodie or a baddie?
But she's sort of both. She sort of straddles the line. She has a giant mallet that she goes around and kills people and whacks them. But
Sounds like a baddie to me.
But she
Call me
often does it
old-fashioned.
for the right reason.
Turns him into pudding.
Yes. And but this is filthy. She drops F-bombs left and right. It's a cartoon, but they have sex. Her and Mr. J are like making out, and tongues are going, and they're grinding on each other. She's best friends with Poison Ivy, who's another villain, and Poison Ivy is always trying to tell her that she's being codependent, that she needs to leave Joker, she's better than this, and she sort of acts as as her therapist. The two of them go on crime sprees together, and they're trying to get into the Legion of Doom, which is, if you remember from Super Friends, remember when you were young?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so, but there's a Legion of Doom now.
All the bad guys have their own meeting house.
It's like Bane and Scarecrow and Joker and everybody. But they all sit around at like the water cooler in the break room of the Legion of Doom, and they gossip about each other. So it's very weird. Like they're very different supervillains than we've ever seen. They all have secret identities, which we've never seen before. Like they work in an office, and then they go out and be Scarecrow. And
I'm gonna sound like an old person here,
Yes.
but if you create a universe, I see the story potential, and it'd be hard not to pursue it. But when you pursue a universe where there's good and evil, very perfect, and you start to, do the evil people ever pay a price for being evil, or is it normalized?
So old-fashioned.
No, they're in and out of prison all the time, and they break each other in and out of prison. And they're she starts off, and Mr. J leaves during a battle with Batman, so she gets arrested and goes to prison, and she keeps saying, he's going to break me out any day now, and then it's like 6 months later, he's going to break me out any day now. And so they do pay the price.
All right.
But
Is Mr. J the Joker?
Mr. J is the Joker,
Okay.
yes. And so, but the thing is, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to hone in on how Marvel has a gray area, whereas DC has always been very black and white. And so they're trying very hard.
I can see the desire from a storyteller's point of view
Yes.
to tell a reach story.
This is they're funny. The villains are funny. They're sexy.
Tell me about DC Universe. It's a streaming platform for all the DC characters.
And then
can you get all the TV shows there too?
You've got all the TV shows going back to Batman and the Green Hornet, and
You just sold
Not the
another
60s,
another
Batman.
no,
subscription.
yeah, the '60s.
It's
And
on DC Universe.
Yeah, and you have
Stop.
you have
How
Wonder
much is
Woman,
it?
Wonder Woman from the '70s.
How
You
much
have the
is it?
entire
DVD, but no one
collection.
watches. I don't have a DVD player.
But it is also like all the old cartoons from the '60s and
James,
the
how much
50s.
is it?
I think it's like $6 a month.
Oh.
Well, that's more than.
Wow Presents Plus,
Yeah.
$3.99 a month. That's on the price of a latte, but so much more.
Wow, that just
Got
came
that
out. You don't even know you said that.
I did not.
That just came out.
Okay, Harley Quinn is streaming on DC Universe, not to be confused with Wow Presents Plus. All right, so number 5.
Number 5.
No Laughing Matter. And I'm spelling No Laughing Matter NOLAF, Olaf-ing. No Laughing Matter because
Olaf Matting.
man charged for sex with stuffed animals at Target. Okay, victims included unicorn and frozen snowman. I'm reading from The Smoking Gun. Cody Christopher Meader was charged with criminal mischief in connection with the October 22nd incident at Target, about 10 miles from his St. Petersburg residence.
Florida.
He willfully and maliciously damaged Target goods by ejaculating on the merchandise. Apparently, he arrived around 2 p.m. and approached a display featuring characters from the Disney film Frozen. He then selected a large Olaf stuffed animal and placed it on the floor. Meader proceeded to dry hump the cinematic snowman until he ejaculated on the merchandise.
Until it was no longer dry.
Upon returning the soiled stuffed animal to the merchandise rack, he entered the toy department. And there, cops allege, he selected a large unicorn stuffed animal and began to dry hump this item. He was detained by police at Target. The stuffed animals were removed and destroyed. And he admitted to doing stupid stuff and that he had nutted on the Olaf stuffed
Nutted.
animal. I just add one more detail here. Defendant has a history of this type of behavior via his father, who was not on the scene. The merchandise could not be resold due to circumstances.
Well, hello.
Now, I did want to just mention how Zelig-like I am.
Yes!
Because I was in St. Petersburg on October 22nd, and I went to this Target at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, an hour after this happened.
How do we
You
know?
were not there at the same time. There's absolutely no connection between you and this incident other than you were there an hour.
And when I tell you
Before or after?
that the entire town was buzzing about this, that people were crying, the children were children were traumatized. The people who worked there were laughing hysterically. And
What did you do at Target?
Well,
at
I
3
grabbed me
PM?
and Olaf and went to town too.
Oh, no.
Was he hot?
Olaf?
No, the guy.
No, he's not. But it's interesting. He's free on $200 bond, due to be arraigned next month. James, it could be you.
It sounds.
You could have been in disguise.
Just not to bring it, but it sounds like mental illness and or drug abuse.
Sometimes you just got a nut, babe.
Okay, that's another point of view as well.
Are you harshing my?
You take that
No.
out. Take
Shaming- we shouldn't be laughing about this, should we?
It's hard not to laugh at. So I think we should be laughing at it, but
It's no
it
laughing
doesn't
matter.
seem like no. You set me up and I dropped the ball.
No, you're right. Maybe I should talk about Marriage Story. Go back to that.
No. You're good. I'm not harshing you. I just think
Harshing my
why
melon.
do people do those things? And
Are you yucking my yum?
No, you know what it is. It's meth. Is what it is.
that or
probably is,
craziness
right.
or yeah.
The meth often makes you a little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
I suppose I just always love the way crime reports will describe in the driest terms the most heinous of things.
Do you think they
And
have fun doing that though?
I
a little
think
bit.
they do. I do.
A little creative writing exercise for the
It's
officers
like, how
and
dry
the
can you
press.
be?
Yes, dry hump.
Very droll comedy. selected a large unicorn stuffed animal.
I love they underline that these items were destroyed. They're not on sale. There's other
In
things
case
you can
we were
buy.
worried.
Yes. It would give you pause if you're buying something from that Target in the Olaf section.
Coming up this month on Wow Presents Plus, Ms. Cracker's Hanukkah special drops next Friday, 12/20, and 2 Alyssa's Secret Holiday specials are coming Monday, 12/23, and Monday, 12/30.
I was on Wow Presents Plus, and there's a whole holiday section
know.
of drag races
get
and
festive.
things. Yes,
Yes,
it's
we
very
do.
fun. There's like a whole Christmas. When you get sick of your family, you can go into a room and watch.
And you get 7 days free if you sign up now.
7 days.
All right, Blake, you got a question?
I do. Little tease, we have our as part of our Best of the Decade series, we have
Yes.
best TV shows of the 2010s coming up on December 27th. So, who has been recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records as television's most frequent clapper?
Clapper?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Did you say it's in the Guinness Book of Records?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, we'll go look it up. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James St. James and Tom Campbell and Blake.
Hi.
Hi. So the question before the break was...
Who has been recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records as television's most frequent clapper?
For all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it on camera person?
Ed McMahon.
I'm gonna say I'm wrong, but Joan Rivers, because she'd always clap. Oh, grow up, grow up, grow up.
I'm going to say, and I think I'm right, Vanna White, because she turns the letters and then she claps. And she,
You're right.
Oh!
She averages 720 claps per episode, and she puts her hands together more than 28,800 times per season.
Well,
she is so clapped out.
Oh, clap on. Clap on.
No, she's hosting.
This whole week she's been hosting
On
Wheel
her
of Fortune,
own.
and she's doing a good job.
Yeah, did you see she made a mistake? Her first spin of the wheel,
I missed that.
she identified the wrong widget where it landed.
Makes
Got it
her
wrong.
human.
Learning curve.
Thank you.
She's only been on the show for half
She's
a
been
century.
way away from the
She
wheel.
said she's busy with her letters.
She can't even see the wheel.
Exactly. She didn't even know there was a wheel.
Yeah.
All right. Counting down top 10 things that make us go, wow.
Wow.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Time Magazine Person of the Year. You may have heard already by now. Everyone thought it might be Nancy Pelosi. Fearful that it might be Trump, but it is Greta. I think it's Thunberg is how you say her name. That wonderful girl who is the
Swedish?
Extinction Rebellion.
Extinction Rebellion. And there's a beautiful, she's on the covers. It's beautiful. She's standing on a cliff with the oceans behind her. And, you know, there was that moment, I hate to bring up politics, but I don't, where in one of the impeachment testimonies, a lawyer mentioned Barron Trump's name, as like Trump may think he's a king, but he's not a king.
How dare you mention a child's name?
Yes, and it went crazy. But let's remember that President Trump, President Bone Spurs, ripped Greta
Yeah,
Yeah.
when
What
she
did he
was up
say?
there. Just horrible things, just putting her down, just like, hoaxing and how she threatens him, and how wonderful that a young person who really from there's that picture of her like protesting a year ago to her like the world. Everyone took a day to sort of march into the streets to protest the lack of action around the climate crisis. So
And I want to thank her for all the awesome memes.
yes, she is. She is.
And is she the same age as Barron?
I think
No, I
Barron
think
might be a little bit younger.
older. No, I think he's older. I
Is
think
he?
he's 13 now.
Well, she's
13,
16.
Oh, is she? Okay, yeah.
And then for the first time they were giving person of the year in different categories as well. Not person of the year, but like entertainer of the year. And it's Lizzo, you guys.
She's so fantastic.
It was Lizzo's year. We all knew it.
Who remember a couple of years ago you went before anyone even
did?
knew Lizzo. You
We-
told us about a Lizzo concert and you were like, you know the song Good as Hell?
Yes.
And now it's like number one.
They remade Good as they've
Yeah.
re-released it. If you must know Lizzo by now. If you haven't, you have to listen to it. It's music that's so incredibly infectious. You don't have to like rap or like it's everything. And she has such a great personality. And she made a lot of news this week when she went to the Lakers game.
Yeah.
And she wore like a dress that revealed a huge thong in her big butt because she's very body positive and she does it in a way that she gets away with it. That she's able to.
She almost didn't get away with this because people really came down on her.
Well, it was during the Lakers girls' performance. They were dancing to her song "Juice."
Oh, okay.
So that's why she got up and was twerking
And why not?
to her own song.
Well, I have no problem. No, I have no problem. I'm not coming down on her.
So much
I'm just saying
body
that
shaming.
people were body shaming her for her ample derriere, which is absolutely a lovely thing.
Maybe it was more of a
But it was-
hygiene issue.
No,
was sitting
it
on the
was,
seat.
it was a family, game, and you're shocking the children.
I don't understand why the body shocks children.
I mean, the cheerleaders were,
I know
in their
what we allowed
bloomers.
to happen.
And
all
Right?
happened.
Yeah, cheerleaders. I mean,
It's all good. Anyway, so Greta, Person of the Year. Thank you, Time Magazine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lizzo, entertainer with you.
James, number 3.
Number 3.
Crazy story out of Texas. A bunch of
For a
Now we go
change.
from Florida to Texas with James Weirdo News.
yeah,
Were you there?
News of the weird. I was not there, but a bunch of feral hogs attacked a woman coming out of. She was a caregiver. She was leaving someone's house. A pack of feral hogs ate her, just devoured her in a way. I mean, if you know anything about hogs will eat every part of the body. They will eat the bones.
I learned
There
that
will
on
be-
Hannibal.
Yeah, we learned about that on Hannibal.
we did.
There will be nothing left. And if you ever kill anyone and need to dispose of a body, you take them to a bunch of hogs. You throw the body in with the hogs. These were some Razorback hogs that have been roaming
Woo,
this
pig
neighborhood.
suey.
What?
Razorbacks, Arkansas Razorbacks.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, that's not what we're talking about.
My brain kind of shut down at feral hogs.
No,
but keep going.
Listen,
I lost the plot at eating the bones.
Yeah, well, no, but this is a massive problem that's
Yeah,
happening
well-
in Texas right now. They're calling it a pig bomb, is what they're saying.
a pig bomb?
A pig bomb is an explosion of pigs that are roaming the streets in
The
Texas
population
right now.
of wild
the
feral
population has
pigs.
gone up to 6 million wild pigs in America right now because what happens is the pigs can replicate, can reproduce at a really fast rate. They can have 2 or 3.
But they've always been able to do this. So
no.
why now?
Well, but they can have 2 or 3 litters a year of up to 20 pigs a year. So of up to 20 pigs each time. So you have one female pig giving birth to 60 pigs in a year, and the temperatures, right, and the everything is coming together.
Right.
That it's one
a
of those
perfect
massive,
storm in
it's
Texas.
a perfect storm. It's a pig bomb that's happening.
I hate to say
and-
this for our animal loving, and we're all animal lovers, but this is why, like in New Hampshire, the deer population would get too big, and they control it with hunting.
Yeah.
Is there a way to?
So
Well,
what do they do with
I'm
the pigs?
sure they do that.
Well, but what happens is the pigs, when they get, if a hunter shoots at them, then they get scared, and then they become more angry, and then they start attacking
So
people.
that's my question.
If a car hits them and they live, they become angry pigs, and they go after people.
Right. When did the pigs turn hostile? That's my question.
Well,
you know,
that-
like what?
I
Because
think it was around National Bacon Day.
Whenever we were all about bacon, like the bacon,
because they're probably quite smart, right?
This poor lady,
Well, they
though.
are, yeah,
How
the
did she get
pigs are
overcome by
very
a
intelligent.
pig?
And yeah,
Like, how did it happen? Like,
And a caretaker, like the most.
Were there no
loving of people.
witnesses?
Mayor blamed global warming for the increasing the survival rate of newborn
Greta.
piglets. The mayor blamed global warming for increasing the survival rate of newborn piglets and producing more acorns, bulbs, roots, and tubers for them to eat. So it's like I said, there's
The
a lot of
conditions
things,
sort
yeah,
of
a lot
all
of things are
perfect
happening.
storm.
And they really, they're hard to kill. They're out there. They grow up to 300, 500
eat
pounds.
the feral hog? I mean, I know they ate. Do you make bacon out of feral hogs? Or
Probably
do you
not.
have,
They probably have worms and
do you have feral sausages? Farm to table.
Ew.
Well, that's very.
Sounds a little gamey.
I
to
think
me.
I had one last week.
This poor lady.
I
Last
know, but-
weekend.
and so there are more instances of people being attacked, and people in this neighborhood had complained about the pack of wild hogs, and nobody did anything.
My question: how was she attacked? Like, did she fall over, or
No,
like
she
did
was leaving the house. It was in the
They were waiting for her.
It was in the early hours of the morning. It was still dark outside, so they came and they descended upon her. They were talking about how the way when it happened. Their lower teeth are like razors, and they just ripped the flesh from her.
It's like a real life Sharknado.
Yeah.
All right.
Pignado.
Read more about Attack of the Feral Hogs on Hogs.
Or don't.
Right, on the WoW report.
It's upsetting.
Wow. Number 2.
Number 2.
I think we should talk about Adam Driver, actually, because
Goodness.
he's in Marriage Story.
Correct?
He is in Star Wars. He plays the young Darth Vader, right?
Yes.
Before
No,
Kylo
no.
Ren, before he turns. I
No.
thought.
That Hayden Christensen is the young Darth Vader.
Kylo Ren then is Darth Vader's son. What is?
He is the son. No, because Luke is the son. I think he's just
Right.
another rising Vader-y type of person.
Oh, I see. Just a Vader lookalike.
Don't come to us for your Star Wars knowledge.
Anyway.
He's
I mean,
also in The Report.
Exactly, and that's what I'm going to talk to you
Okay.
about. Yes, I went to see The Report,
Which is an Amazon movie
Yes.
that's also in the theaters.
and it is based on the committee. What is it based on? Hang on. It is based on the committee study of the Central Intelligence Agency's detention and interrogation program. This is a shocking story.
A
but
topical story.
You may remember that post 9/11, people were arrested. Rendered to secret locations around the globe, not within American jurisdiction, so that they could we Americans could do whatever we wanted with them.
Torture them, waterboard them.
Yes.
Oh, wait, does
Enhanced interrogation techniques, EITs. And they came up with basically 12
But doesn't the
unbelievable.
Geneva Convention prevent us from prevent anyone
yes,
from doing that?
But by not taking them to the United States, by rendering them to black ops camps around the world, like Guantanamo Bay in Cuba.
They got away with it. They hid it. It's the whole thing that George W. Bush's presidency is marred by these war crimes.
Right. And these 12 forms of torture for use against detainees: the attention grasp, walling, which is basically where you slam someone's head against a wall, facial hold, facial slap, cramped confinement, which is where you basically put them in a box no bigger than a coffin, wall standing, stress position, sleep deprivation, waterboarding, use of diapers, use of insects, mock burials. And these 12 heinous techniques
Mock burials,
were
like you bury them
devised-
alive?
Yes, were devised by Mitchell Jessen and associates, who were psychologists at the Defense Department, who taught special forces how to resist and endure torture in a program called Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape, SEER, based on communist torture techniques.
Oy.
The twist of this is that these two people, who were paid millions and millions of dollars by the U.S., had never actually carried out a real interrogation. Their PhD dissertations were on high blood pressure and family therapy, and they had no language skills, no expertise on Al-Qaeda. They knew nothing. They were just two jokers.
Two people who
Decided we'll do these 12 horrible things to people in these detention centers around the world. And this report is Adam Driver basically plays this real-life character who basically spent 5 years and compiled, I think it's like something stunning, like a 6,700-page report that includes 38,000 footnotes, that basically going through millions of documents, cables, emails, and materials provided by the CIA. Basically, Daniel Jones was his name.
So he revealed it. He's
sort of, if you will,
the Woodward and
whistleblower.
Bernstein. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But now, is a movie about someone compiling 6,000?
All the President's Men.
But is it? I mean, is it interesting or
it's
it sounds a little
dry
very
as
dry?
sheetrock.
Yeah. Okay.
But
it sounds
is
a little dry.
Unbelievably good because it's so restrained, And
When he
Adam
gonna-
Driver is so good, and your outrage provides the emotion because they don't gild the lily. I mean, yes, you do see these torturing, but it's like you just realize how the truth gets so obscured and gets kicked down the road. And even though he's in the CIA, he's in the Pentagon, he has a dark basement room where he spends 6 years of his life and has his own computer system that is separate from the CIA. But of course, they can't restrain themselves. They break into his computer, they remove documents, and fantastic. Annette Bening plays Diane Feinstein, and I've
seen her just in the clip in the ad.
good.
She's
now,
really good.
Yeah.
Cut to the chase, though. Here is Adam going to get double nominations?
Well, I think, frankly, he should win for this, not for Marriage Story.
That's an
I think this is such an important story. I mean, the CIA actually killed someone in 2002 during interrogation by hypothermia.
I'm sure the CIA has killed more than two people.
Yeah, and just the other day, Abu Zubaydah is in the news because they've just published a report that features his drawings of the torture to which he was subjected. This is someone who was arrested, who was never charged with a crime, who had no part in Al-Qaeda. They're never going to charge him with a crime. He's in Guantanamo Bay for essentially the rest of his life. And he's been so abused. He has, from rectal feeding and rectal rehydration and waterboarding. They waterboarded him something like 83 times. He lost an eye. I mean, they kept him awake for 11 days. It's like, you suddenly think, holy fuck.
How do you watch all that? What you're painting for me, it sounds like I would never spend the time to watch that.
But
is
you
it
sort of-
what lifts your spirit, or is there any?
I don't know that it's not a film
Well,
about
it's-
joy, but it is a film about
Things you
one
should know.
person's
These are
cannot. If you turn it off, you feel you're complicit in this.
I mean, sometimes we need to know the bad things that
Well,
are
of course
happening.
we do.
I mean, and to bury our heads and just say,
I might
I'm
want
gonna
to read it
do.
in an article more than one. I don't know.
For sure. But
It's
it
a lot.
is actually a good movie, and I would say there isn't a lot of off-putting torture. It's the Hitchcock thing of what's not seen is more horrifying than what you do
Well, it
see.
sounds like he's just writing a
But it
report
makes
the entire movie.
I think I engaged with it and stayed with it because you realize the intractability of the political process and how even people with the best intentions get worn down. And I just felt it was relevant from a point of view of where we are today with the impeachment. It feels like a seed was planted. Where we are now is started many years ago by corruption and cynicism and sadism in so many ways and in so many places, and it's just sort of bearing fruit. And it is, yes, it could be slightly overwhelming, but it does make you really,
All right.
really.
There was I was at Amazon the day it was released at the studios pitching, and they covered all the newspapers they have for guests who were there with the report. It was a promo for the report, and they just took like a newspaper and redacted
the bar, the black bar.
Right.
half of it.
Yes.
and it was, and that I took a picture and put on my Instagram
Right.
because it was just like, that's really scary.
Yeah, I mean,
What you know and what
the
you don't
Mueller
know.
report, the way that
Yeah.
was redacted,
Yeah.
it's like it's just pretty revolting stuff. And I love that this guy, they told him, we can never let the world know what we have done to you.
Well,
So he will never be
But
released.
I mean, it's taken
like-
15 years for this story to come out. Is it going to take another 15 years for for the things about Trump to come out?
Oftentimes.
Probably.
All right.
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello and welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James and Tom and Blake. We've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go
Wow. Some heavy stuff this week.
I know we've reached number one.
Number 1.
Well, number one is perhaps the most fascinating thing of all, the recent revelation that the guy who did the Steele dossier, Steele,
Yes.
his
The
friends.
British spy.
the one with the prostitutes urinating on the
Yes,
Obama
who
bed
supposedly
in Russia.
knows about the P tape
Yes.
that Trump has said has nothing to do with me. How dare
What's
you?
his first name? Not Daniel Steele. That's the novelist.
Is it Christopher Steele?
Christopher Steele. Steele. The Steele dossier, really, which is the beginning of all this mishigas.
Yes.
Is friends with.
And has been friends with for years.
I mean, why did this not
with
come out?
Ivanka Trump.
Now, well, sort of.
Personal friends. They
What is
put
that?
the P in personal.
But what is the implication there?
It's just shows you how messy it all is, how the Trumps are involved in everything. The idea, because the idea is that this report was drummed up by the Democrats, wrong, to discredit Trump, and that's it's this deep state thing. The idea that everybody and anything that comes in conflict with Trump's idea, fascist ideas, are against him. His daughter is friends with this guy, has talked to this guy, has corresponded. He, if anything, he's probably more predisposed to be positive toward Trump than negative.
Why on earth would someone like Steele be friends with someone as
He's
awful and
blonde.
worthless as
you have a
Ivanka
few
Trump?
scotches?
Really?
But they used to be, the Trumps used to be kind of like a joke. They used to be more of a harmless, like, rich family joke, and now they run the fucking world, which is the problem. But they were just a joke. So why wouldn't you want to meet Ivanka Trump if you could? Why wouldn't you? What's the name?
Christopher Steele.
Christopher Steele.
Yeah, they're still a joke, but I get what you mean.
They're an evil power now. How a joke can turn into an evil power.
Right.
And the fact that during all of this, that's never been mentioned. I guess why would you? But here they are holding secrets. What else are they holding on to? Oh, his taxes, and the truth, the Ukrainian bullshit. I don't know. We're going dark. It's the holidays.
But it is a profoundly dark time, and there's no point in having false joy. I think maybe this is why I dislike Marriage Story so much. I just like, how dare you bring this to me at a time of national danger?
It's not even. It's not. We've moved past it.
I mean, even the one Christmas thing that we could find was Olaf being fucked in a Target store. I mean,
he was dry humped.
For
our children
and
viewers.
for once, James, you aren't angry with me. I do remember that you told me about it, and I couldn't believe it was the same incident.
I've given up being angry for you with forgetting things I tell you.
Oh my God! We've just found the Christmas message. we can stop hating each other, if just for a few moments, if just for on air.
Actually, I do have a little bit of good news.
Okay, good.
Mosquitoes are a terrible problem, and they kill people all over the world.
Where are we going?
Speaking of Christmas, tell us about the mosquito problem, Fenton.
Joe Ramira from Kampala, Uganda. His deadly farts can kill mosquitoes, and he's been hired to create a mosquito repellent made from his intestinal gas. Isn't that fantastic?
Well, wait,
no one in his home village in Kampala, Uganda, has ever contracted malaria because his powers knock out insects over a 6-mile radius.
How did they narrow it down to him?
Well, the Daily Mirror, the very reliable source, doesn't reveal that, but they do observe that if true, this would make the fallout zone larger than that of the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima in 1945.
I'm calling BS on this fart.
I just wanted the packaging should be a facsimile of this guy, like as a little bottle, and then you turn him around so his butt's facing you, and then you squirt his head, and then the spray comes out his butt.
Yeah.
I love that. The packaging possibilities.
Where did this come from?
It came from the Daily Mirror. It just breaking news.
No. I mean, but hadn't we already finished the episode?
I'm just adding in a
This
little
is an
seasonal
ad.
joy. Like you
So
said,
wait,
it was
you're getting an extra number?
You said it was
Number
all too dark.
0.05.
You said it was all too dark. I was just trying to bring a little cheer.
I have another number I'd like to bring.
What have you got?
I got nothing.
All right. Same time, same
Amen.
place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.